Success does not begin with action. It begins with the word. Long before the first step is taken, the first brick laid, the first empire built, there is a whisper, a declaration, a command sent out from the lips of a man who dares to speak what he does not yet see. Most people live as prisoners of silence or slaves to careless language, unaware that every phrase they speak is a decree to their subconscious mind and a signal to the universe. If your life is small, chances are your words have been too. Do not mistake this for a metaphor. It is a law. The man who speaks with purpose shapes reality. The man who mumbles doubts, excuses, and vague intentions invites disorder, delay, and defeat. Your words are not entertainment. They are instructions. Every sentence is either laying a brick on the road to your success or digging a ditch for your failure. The moment you understand this, your vocabulary becomes your most powerful tool and your most dangerous weapon. There is an ancient truth known to all great leaders, mystics, and creators. The world was spoken into existence. What was once void and formless took shape when the first words were spoken. If the universe obeys the power of words, what makes you believe your life is any different? Your world, your results, your confidence, your wealth, your destiny is formed first and foremost by your declarations. You are not a passive observer. You are an active architect of your future. And the bricks you use are your words. The man who seeks power must begin by mastering his language. For language is not merely communication, it is creation. What you say is what you become. When you tell yourself, I am tired, your body listens. When you say, I can't do this, your willpower retreats. When you confess, I always fail at this, your mind ensures that the prophecy is fulfilled. But what happens when a man says, I will find a way? What happens when he declares, this challenge is making me stronger? He opens a portal to possibility, and life responds accordingly. Words are commands to your subconscious, and your subconscious does not argue, it obeys. It is a loyal servant, ever listening for the tone of your inner voice. If your words are laced with defeat, the subconscious produces obstacles. If your words are wrapped in certainty, the subconscious becomes a generator of courage, clarity, and energy. The man who controls his vocabulary controls his mental state, and the man who controls his mental state is unstoppable. Many spend their lives as victims of circumstance, unaware that their own tongue has been their jailer. Their speech is cluttered with excuses, hesitation, and fear-based affirmations. They say things like, this always happens to me, I'm not lucky, people don't like me, and then wonder why the world reflects those beliefs back to them. The world is not mocking them. It is merely obeying them. The truth is this: you are always programming your future, always. There is no neutral speech. You are either reinforcing your greatness or reaffirming your mediocrity. Your words are either rising to meet your potential or dragging you back into repetition. This is why the man of success must become fiercely conscious of every syllable he utters. He must speak only that which he wishes to see. He must refuse to give voice to what he does not want, for to speak it is to give it life. When a man learns to use his words as tools of construction rather than weapons of self-destruction, he changes not just his mood, but his fate. Consider the man who wakes up and instead of saying, oh, it's going to be a long day, he declares, today is a day of opportunity. One man opens the door to dread, the other to momentum. And the day, like a loyal servant, listens and obeys. Some scoff at affirmation. They think them childish or unscientific. But the wise man knows better. He understands that repetition creates belief, and belief creates behavior, and behavior produces results. Speak a lie long enough, and it becomes your truth. Speak a truth long enough, and it becomes your power. What you say to yourself over and over becomes your identity. And your identity is the engine of your achievement. Therefore, begin now to audit your vocabulary. Listen not only to what you say aloud, but what you whisper in your mind. For it is the inner dialogue that holds the true key. You may speak confidently to others, but if you are timid with yourself, your outer world will remain unstable. Speak to yourself like a king preparing for conquest. Encourage yourself as a general rallies his army. Declare your intent, affirm your strength, and prophesy your greatness. Say, I am becoming a man of immense clarity. Say, I command influence. Say, my words build empires. Not because they are true today, but because they will be. Every time you say them, you are watering seeds, and one day the harvest will arrive. But only if the words are consistent and they are spoken with conviction. There is no success without first mastering the tongue. You may work hard. You may read books. You may network and hustle. But if your speech is infected with doubt, sarcasm, and weakness, you are building on sand. The truly powerful man builds his castle with words of stone. His speech is clear, concise, certain. He does not waste his breath. He does not joke about failure. He does not mock ambition. He speaks life, and life obeys. You must also understand the influence of words on others. The man who leads must speak like one. He must choose words that ignite rather than deflate. He must speak vision into tired hearts, clarity into confusion, and certainty into chaos. His followers are watching not just what he does, but what he says. A single phrase can change the morale of a team, the direction of a company, or the outcome of a negotiation. To be careless with words is to be careless with power. But here is the ultimate truth. The first person you lead with your words is yourself. If your speech cannot move you, it will not move the world. If your language cannot stir your own soul into action, how can you expect it to inspire others? Therefore, become your own orator. Wake up and declare. Walk into meetings with intention in your voice. Speak your goals aloud. Describe your future with vivid detail. Talk as if your dream is already on its way. For in truth, the moment you speak it with certainty, it is. Every man must choose. Will he be ruled by his environment, or will he rule it with his language? Will he complain, or will he command? Will he murmur weakness, or declare strength? The world listens to those who speak with authority, not volume, not arrogance, but certainty. And certainty is born when a man aligns his words with his vision and repeats them without compromise. Success is not just earned through sweat. It is summoned with speech. To speak is to begin. To repeat is to reinforce. To believe is to become. Speak wisely, consistently, and powerfully, and success will be compelled to listen. A man becomes what he repeatedly speaks, not just in the moments of bold declaration, but in the quiet murmurings of his soul. The words whispered in the dark when no one is watching become the scaffolding of the world he wakes up to. It is in these silent confessions, these unseen utterances, that your future is being scripted. You can deceive the crowd, but you cannot deceive the universe. It listens not merely to your public proclamations, but to the phrases etched deep in the chambers of your belief. If your words contradict your vision, you will suffer delay, for the subconscious cannot be mocked, it can only be instructed. The man who says, I will succeed, yet constantly mutters, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, or what if I fail, is double-minded. And a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. He moves forward with a chained ankle, dragged back by the very words he refuses to tame. He becomes a slave, not to fate, but to the script he repeats. Let us understand a fundamental law. Words are mental blueprints. Before anything is built in the physical world, it is designed in the invisible realm. You are not waiting for your future to show up. You are building it every day with your language. The clearer, bolder, and more repeated your words, the stronger the architecture of your destiny. If your vocabulary is cluttered with doubt, vague ambitions, or self-deprecating humor, then the structure you are building will collapse under pressure. Therefore, cleanse your language like a temple. Rid it of sarcasm. Banish self-pity. Eliminate phrases like, I'll try, maybe, or I don't know how. These are the weeds in your mental garden. Replace them with absolutes. Speak with finality. Say, I am. Say, I will. Say, this is mine. The subconscious mind thrives on certainty. And when your language is uncertain, your results will be, too. Even more dangerous than negative speech is habitual, neutral speech. It is not the overtly toxic words that always destroy a man. It is the daily mediocrity that infects him without resistance. Phrases like, it's fine, not bad, same old, are signals to the mind that nothing is changing, nothing is evolving, and nothing is expected. Such language is like breathing in slow poison, harmless at first, deadly over time. The language of greatness demands energy, enthusiasm, expectation. When asked how life is going, respond as a man climbing the mountain, not one sleeping at its base. Say, I'm rising, I'm expanding, I'm in motion. For even when results are not visible, words can generate momentum. And momentum is the great secret behind every breakthrough. The man who keeps speaking forward eventually finds himself moving forward. You must become militant in your verbal discipline. Not legalistic, not robotic, but intentional. Every conversation is a seed. Every response is a declaration. When you complain, you attract more reasons to complain. When you speak possibility, you awaken creativity. When you declare victory, even in defeat, you signal your mind to keep hunting for the path. The man who can say, I am still winning, in the face of temporary failure, is the man who cannot be defeated, for he has not surrendered his most potent tool, his voice. And this power of language extends beyond what you say to yourself. It dictates how others perceive you, believe in you, and follow you. Your words reveal your inner world to the outer world. If you speak confusion, you radiate instability. If you speak clarity, others lean in. You become magnetic not because you have all the answers, but because your speech carries conviction. People trust men who sound like they know where they are going. Now understand this. The universe responds to clarity. Success does not visit the uncertain or the apologetic. It seeks out those who command it with unwavering words. If your goal is vague, your results will be cloudy. Instead of saying, I want to be successful, say, I will build a six-figure business within 12 months by helping 100 clients transform their lives. Instead of saying, I want to be fit, say, I will weigh 180 pounds of lean muscle and feel energetic every day by this summer. Speak specifics. Set verbal targets. Your mind is a guided missile. It requires coordinates. Some will say, but I don't want to lie to myself. That is not lying. That is leading. A lie is when you speak something without belief. Leadership is when you speak something to create belief. Every general must rally his troops before the battle is won. Every builder sees the house in his mind before the foundation is poured. Every champion speaks like one before the victory is secured. Why? Because words are the agents of belief, and belief is the currency of success. In truth, the world is shaped by men who spoke things into being before they had any evidence. Edison spoke of light in the darkness. Ford spoke of cars when people still rode horses. Every one of them used language as a lever to lift their dreams into the light of day. Let your language be contagious. Let it infect your environment with belief. If your words are powerful, others will feel it. They will begin to echo your convictions, and soon your language will multiply, rippling through your family, your team, your community, until the very atmosphere around you vibrates with success. But none of this will happen if you continue to speak like the average man. Average men say average things. They repeat what the news tells them. They parrot the doubts of the crowd. They speak more about problems than solutions, more about the past than the future, more about fear than faith. This is the language of stagnation. The language of the extraordinary is different. It is filled with vision, gratitude, boldness, and responsibility. These men say, I am responsible for my destiny. They say, I am surrounded by opportunity. They say, this is just the beginning. They do not curse their struggle, they bless it. They do not speak as victims, they speak as victors. And that difference, subtle as it may seem, creates seismic shifts in outcome. So I urge you, speak now as the man you intend to become. Not the man you were, not even the man you are, but the man who is rising. Speak as the millionaire, the creator, the leader, the visionary. Use your words to carve that man out of stone, each phrase a chisel, each sentence a hammer. Speak until the old you is buried under the language of your next level. And then keep speaking. There will be moments where doubt rises like fog. Times when you want to stay silent or vent your frustrations. But this is the very battlefield of your future. What you say in those moments matters more than what you say when life is easy. For in difficulty, words become swords. Use them. Slice through fear. Cut through inertia. Declare your outcome again and again until resistance yields. Remember this always. Your voice is your vote for the future. Cast it wisely. Speak success. Command greatness. And watch as the world begins to obey. If a man desires to master his destiny, he must first master his mouth. The bridge between where you are and where you wish to go is paved by the words you choose to speak, not merely once in ambition, but daily in devotion. Every morning, your first words are not just utterances, they are programming codes. Like a farmer sowing seed, your verbal expression will determine the harvest of your day. And if your speech is casual, passive, or laced with complaint, then do not be surprised when your reality mirrors that mediocrity. But if your speech is firm, intentional, and planted in belief, then what follows will be a life sculpted by precision. The man who controls his tongue controls the current of his life. Let this be burned into your mind. Words precede manifestation. They do not follow. The mistake most men make is waiting for proof before they speak with authority. But the successful man understands that authority must be spoken before it is possessed. You don't speak because the mountain moved. You speak so that it will move. You don't speak because success is certain. You speak so that success becomes inevitable. In this sense, your mouth becomes your staff. Your tongue becomes your scepter. It is the emblem of rulership over the invisible. There is no true transformation without the transformation of language. Old words must die if new realities are to be born. You cannot speak as a victim and expect to live as a victor. You cannot continue to declare your limitations and then wonder why you remain bound. A man becomes the echo of his confession. What he repeats, he reinforces. What he reinforces, he begins to believe. What he believes, he enacts. And what he enacts, he becomes. Now consider this. How many men live beneath their potential because they have inherited the vocabulary of defeat? Their father spoke in fear. Their teachers used the language of limits. Their peers reinforced mediocrity. And so they unknowingly joined the choir of the average, humming the hymn of good enough. But that chorus must be broken, must be shattered by a new voice, your voice. For when a man awakens to his power, his first act is often verbal rebellion. He dares to speak differently. He stops repeating the phrases passed down by the timid. He forges a new dialect, a language of expansion, growth, victory, and vision. This change in language must begin in the quiet, private places. It is not first for the crowd, it is for the conditioning of the soul. Speak affirmations, not to impress others, but to rewire your belief. Stand before the mirror and say, I am a builder of empires. Say, my words are shaping wealth, power, and peace. Say, my voice moves mountains because it moves me first. These statements, though they may feel foreign at first, are not delusions, they are directions. Directions for your mind, your body, your actions, and ultimately your environment. Remember, the subconscious mind does not resist repetition. It only responds. If you tell it, I am not good at business, it will obediently seek out behaviors and opportunities that match that identity. But if you declare, I am becoming a masterful entrepreneur, and you repeat it with emotional intensity, your subconscious will begin bending your attention, your perception, and your courage in that direction. This is not myth, it is mental mechanics. The great men of history were not merely thinkers, they were speakers. They incanted their ideals into existence. Yet there is a warning here. Idle words are dangerous. Many men speak thoughtlessly, unaware that every casual comment is a vote cast in the election of their future. When you joke about your failures, your brain does not laugh. It listens. When you constantly say, I'm tired, or I can't afford that, or nothing ever works out for me, you are not venting, you are rehearsing defeat. And the more you rehearse it, the more comfortable it becomes, until finally it becomes your reality. To escape this trap, become a guardian of your tongue. Patrol it like a soldier. Refuse to speak words that do not serve your higher aim. Replace every excuse with a declaration of power. Instead of saying, I don't know how, say, I am learning rapidly. Instead of, this is hard, say, this is shaping my strength. Instead of, what if I fail? Say, failure sharpens my edge for the next attempt. This is not delusion, it is strategic reprogramming. You are editing the script of your future while it is still in development. Every successful man I have studied, every titan I have interviewed, every empire builder I have observed, each of them possessed a distinctive verbal discipline. Their words were deliberate, Their speech was vivid. They spoke in specifics, not generalities. They said, "We are growing by 200% this year," not "we hope things improve." They said, "This is a billion-dollar idea," not "maybe this will work." Their certainty infected their team. Their language became the culture, and the culture became the catalyst for explosive results. Now ask yourself, what is the culture of your life? What is the culture of your mind? Your household? Your business? That culture is nothing more than the atmosphere your words have created. If it is filled with doubt, confusion, passivity, or inconsistency, then you know your language has been poor. But if it is charged with clarity, conviction, ambition, and fire, then your words have been doing their work. Even in your relationships, your words are instruments of creation or destruction. A man who learns to speak life into others becomes a king among men. He multiplies loyalty. He inspires courage. He cultivates genius. But the man who criticizes, mocks, or manipulates with his words may succeed temporarily, but he will always collapse internally. For no man can use language to harm others without damaging his own inner architecture. Integrity in speech is not just a moral principle, it is a strategic one. And so, to control success, you must first control your dialogue, internal and external. Speak with clarity. Speak with conviction. Speak as if your words are being recorded and played back into your future, because they are. Your subconscious remembers them. Your spirit absorbs them. The world responds to them. They are not mere noise. They are the construction crew of your reality. From this day forward, let no idle word escape your mouth. Let no conversation be wasted. Let no self-deprecating joke poison your mind. You are not ordinary. You are not here to echo the common phrases of the mediocre. You are here to forge a new tongue, a language of transformation. So rise, speak, command, declare, and above all, believe what you say. For the man whose words align with his belief becomes unstoppable. He does not need luck. He does not wait for permission. He speaks, and his world obeys. Words are the breath of thought, the electric spark that animates desire, and the mechanism by which man breathes life into his vision. When your words align with purpose, when your voice vibrates with the tone of belief, you are no longer just speaking, you are building. You are engaging in divine work, for every spoken word is an act of creation. This is not poetry. This is law. The man who speaks with clarity and unwavering certainty is always moving the invisible forces of the universe in his favor, whether he sees the evidence yet or not. Now, let us go deeper. Consider the fact that your current results, your income, your health, your relationships are the residue of old conversations. Conversations with others, yes, but more importantly, conversations with yourself. You have been whispering to your soul every day, and that whisper has shaped the world you walk through. If you told yourself for years, "I'm not the kind of person who can lead," you have lived that truth. If you constantly said, "Money is hard to come by," your reality has echoed back, "Yes, it is." You must understand, the subconscious mind is always listening, always accepting, always recording. It does not analyze, it obeys. So, how do you reverse course? You begin by confronting the lies you've told yourself with truth spoken in power. You declare, not based on what you see, but based on what you are determined to bring into being. This is the essence of faith. To speak as if the mountain has moved, even while it still stands before you. When you speak your vision with consistency and emotion, the mountain begins to shift, not always in the external first, but always in the internal. And once the inner terrain is changed, the outer world cannot help but follow. But beware, this is not about empty affirmations. It is not enough to simply repeat hollow phrases without conviction. That is not mastery, that is mimicry. Words only have power when they are backed by belief, when they are charged with emotion. You must feel your declarations in your blood. You must believe them in your bones. The man who says, "I am destined for greatness," while feeling small and ashamed, is deceiving no one, least of all himself. But the man who says the same phrase with a spine of steel and fire in his eyes, he is not lying, he is planting a flag in the soil of destiny. Understand this. The transformation begins in the energy behind the words, not just the words themselves. Speak with urgency. Speak with vivid imagination. See what you say. Feel what you claim. Act as though your voice is the ignition switch to your future, because it is. The subconscious responds most powerfully to words that are spoken repeatedly, emotionally, and with focused intention. This is why great leaders, athletes, and achievers use mantras and declarations, not for ritual, but for recalibration. Every time they speak, they are aligning themselves with the reality they seek to inhabit. And let me warn you of the most subtle enemy, sarcasm. Yes, sarcasm, the language of the defeated, the art of passive rebellion. Many speak sarcastically about their goals, their health, their relationships, not realizing that their brain does not know how to filter humor from command. If you constantly say, "I'm just lazy," or "of course I failed again," even in jest, you are etching those identities into your mind. And once a belief becomes identity, it becomes destiny. So cast sarcasm aside. Speak truth. Speak elevation. Speak as one who knows he is speaking life or death into every moment. Even silence, when intentional, can be more powerful than 1,000 idle words. There is wisdom in restraint. There is power in listening. But when the moment comes to speak, when it is time to declare your goals, to state your standards, to reaffirm your worth, then speak like a king. Speak like one who commands armies of unseen forces. For truly you do. You see, success is not summoned by noise. It is summoned by clarity. It does not respond to wishful murmurs, it responds to declarations. Speak your standards. Speak your expectations. Speak your gratitude as if you are already in possession of your desire. This is not delusion. This is dominion. The man who controls his words is not controlling others, he is controlling the channel by which his future arrives. Let's take a moment to examine the habits of men who rise. They begin their day with declarations. They speak over their day. They frame it. Today I build. Today I lead. Today I speak with power and walk with clarity. These are not just motivational slogans. They are intentional commands that shape behavior and direct energy. These men do not wait for motivation. They generate it with their words. Their conversations with others are equally strategic. They are not careless with language. They avoid gossip, avoid complaining, avoid anything that lowers the vibration of their mind. Instead, they speak possibility. They speak solutions. They challenge mediocrity with the sharp edge of truth. And as a result, their words gain weight. When they speak, people listen, not because of volume, but because of value. Because their words have been tempered by discipline and forged in purpose. In moments of difficulty, these men do not curse their fate. They do not panic or rant. They speak calm into chaos. They say, "This challenge is refining me. They say, there is opportunity hidden here. They say, I will rise stronger. And in doing so, they maintain power while others surrender it. Their words do not reflect their conditions. Their words shape their conditions. And so, they stay above the storm. You must become this kind of man. It starts now. Decide that from this moment on you will never again speak words that betray your vision. You will not voice limitation. You will not declare defeat. You will not say, I can't, unless it is followed by yet. You will not say, that's just who I am, unless it describes the man you are becoming. The world is shaped by men who have learned to master their mouths. This is your time. Speak the life you intend to build. Let no day pass without declaration. Let no doubt linger unchallenged. Let no word escape without purpose. For the man who controls his words is the man who controls his world. The man who understands the value of his words begins to realize that speech is not a release, it is a responsibility. Every utterance either brings him closer to dominion or drags him further into disorder. The world does not respond to idle chatter. It responds to conviction. It bends to the voice that speaks with unwavering clarity and purpose. This is the divine privilege of man, to speak things into being. But with that privilege comes the demand for discipline. You must master not only what you say, but when you say it, how you say it, and to whom you say it. A man's destiny is not dictated by his ambition alone, but by his declarations. Words shape perception, and perception shapes behavior. If you speak of your business as struggling, it will begin to wither. If you refer to your efforts as pointless, they will become so. But if you say, this venture is gaining momentum, even when the evidence seems thin, your mind begins to notice opportunities that align with that belief. Your actions rise to meet your words. It is the divine loop of reinforcement. Speak it, see it, act on it, and repeat until the spoken word becomes the seen world. The sages of old were not foolish to begin creation myths with, and God said, before there was light, there was the Word. Before the form, there was the formless command. Likewise, before success manifests in your bank account, your business, your reputation, it must first be constructed in your mouth. If your life lacks shape, it is not because the clay isn't present. It is because your words have not molded it. Great leaders do not move men by sheer action. They move them with language, with vision cast through sentences, with courage encoded in declarations. Every revolution was first a speech. Every reformation, a voice crying out with conviction. Do not tell me words don't matter. They matter more than you can yet understand. Because men follow sound before they follow strategy. But it is not only what you say aloud, it is what you say in silence. Your self-talk is your private prophecy. You must monitor it as a king guards his throne. Most people lose their greatness in the silent hour. They do not speak aloud, but within they murmur self-defeating scripts. I'll never be good enough. They're better than me. This always happens to me. These words dig grooves into the subconscious mind until the man becomes a slave to beliefs he never chose. But you, yes you, must reverse this cycle. You must replace these inner whispers with deliberate declarations. I am chosen for greatness. I am sculpted by fire, not destroyed by it. Every challenge is forming the man I must become. You must become a sculptor of words, a craftsman of communication. Your vocabulary is your chisel, your thoughts, the marble, and every phrase you choose chips away what doesn't belong. revealing the masterpiece within. Refuse to speak in vague terms. Vague speech produces vague results. If you want precision in your results, begin with precision in your language. The clearer your words, the sharper your aim. And a sharp aim pierces through resistance. Do not overlook the tone of your words either. For tone is the emotional color of the message. Two men may say, "I will win," but one speaks it with uncertainty and the other with thunder. Guess which one moves mountains? Emotion is the fuel behind your declarations. Speak with conviction. Speak with rhythm. Speak like you believe the heavens are listening, because they are. Every vibration carries a frequency, and your frequency determines what you attract. If you want higher outcomes, raise your vibration with words that charge your spirit. Let us not forget the law of repetition. It is not enough to speak once. Even the most potent word, if spoken once and forgotten, dies in the air. But a word repeated becomes a drumbeat in the soul. It begins to carve new neurological pathways. It changes identity. It restructures belief. That is why affirmations work, not because they are magic, but because repetition is the mother of mastery. When you declare daily, "I am focused, I am fearless, I am financially wise," your mind begins to rewire itself to make those statements your reality. But heed this truth. You cannot speak success while entertaining the language of defeat. You must separate yourself from those who speak carelessly. If your circle is filled with people who gossip, complain, criticize, and confess limitation, understand that their words are not harmless. They are infectious. Your environment is the echo chamber of your identity. Surround yourself with those who speak life, who speak elevation, who speak as if every word is a seed, and they only want to grow greatness. This also means you must become a steward of encouragement. Speak life into others. Tell the man struggling, "You are capable of more than you know." Tell the woman doubting herself, "Your strength is showing even now." Because here is a secret. The more powerfully you speak into others, the more power returns to you. There is no shortage of energy in the universe, but it circulates most through those who give it away freely. Lastly, remember, your words must align with your actions. Declarations are the blueprint. Action is the builder. You cannot say, "I am disciplined," then hit the snooze button every morning. You cannot say, "I attract abundance," while hoarding your resources in fear. To control success with your words is not to cast spells, it is to cast standards. And those standards must be backed by behavior. Otherwise, your words lose weight, and your mind learns not to believe you. That is the greatest tragedy, not that others doubt you, but that you train yourself to doubt your own voice. Speak with integrity. Let your word be law. Let your promises to yourself be sacred. Because the man who keeps his word, even when it's inconvenient, is the man the universe begins to trust. The final mastery of words is not just in what you say to yourself or to others, it is in what you refuse to say. True mastery begins with restraint. The man who can control his tongue when his emotions run wild, who can remain silent while chaos swirls around him, holds the power that empires are built upon. You see, wisdom often speaks loudest in silence. But when it does choose to speak, its voice echoes through eternity. That is the nature of power, unshaken, deliberate, and often quiet. The average man seeks to be heard. The successful man seeks to be felt. His words are not many, but they are mighty. He does not waste breath on arguments or small talk. He does not explain himself to doubters. He conserves his energy and speaks only when it forwards his mission. And when he speaks, the world leans in, because they know he is a man whose words mean something. He does not speak to fill the void. He speaks to forge the future. Understand this. Your words carry weight when your life reflects them. When there is alignment between what you say and who you are becoming, your words become prophecy. People begin to listen, not because of your position, but because of your consistency. Your word becomes your brand, your bond, your banner. There was a time when a man's handshake and his word were all that was needed to seal a deal. We must return to this integrity, not for nostalgia's sake, but because the man who speaks truth and lives it becomes a magnet for opportunity. And now we come to the sacred practice, daily verbal programming. Every morning, before the world shouts at you, before distractions and obligations flood in, you must sit still and speak life. Declare with power who you are and who you are becoming. This is not a ritual of wishful thinking. It is a ritual of command. You are not begging the universe, you are instructing it with poise, with authority, with vision. Say, today I speak only with purpose. Today my words lift me higher. Today I lead with clarity and conviction. Let those words ring out into the unseen, and trust that the universe is not deaf. It listens not to noise, but to intentional sound. And just as a symphony is composed note by note, so too is a successful life composed word by word. Speak in harmony with your goal. Let there be no dissonance between what you desire and what you declare. For many men fail not because their dream was too big, but because their language was too small. There's also power in blessing. If you wish to attract favor, begin by speaking it over others. Bless your business partners. Speak peace over your household. Speak increase over your finances. Speak health over your body. Bless those who oppose you, not to win them over, but to release yourself from bitterness. A heart filled with resentment cannot produce prosperous speech. And a man who curses others eventually curses himself. What you release through your words, you also plant in your own soil. Be careful what seeds you sow. In the same spirit, beware of sarcasm, self-deprecating humor, and subtle jabs. These are daggers disguised as jokes. The subconscious mind does not understand jest, it only records. When you say, "I'm always late," or "I never get things right," even in humor, your inner world accepts that command as truth. Speak only what you want multiplied. Speak what you want echoed. Speak what you want to stand on in moments of doubt. There is a fire that forms in the man who chooses his words with precision. He becomes a force, not because he is loud, but because he is aligned. He no longer leaks energy through careless talk. He builds with every sentence. He strengthens his spirit with every affirmation. He calls forth resources, connections, and opportunities with verbal intention. While others wait to feel confident before they speak boldly, he speaks boldly to create confidence. The cause and effect are reversed for him. He does not wait for the world to confirm his identity. He declares it and then watches the world adjust. Remember this. Every leader you admire, every empire you wish to build, every level of success you crave, began with words. Not just external communication, but inner narration. The dialogue in your mind is the architecture of your destiny. If you are not yet where you want to be, trace your steps backward, not just in actions, but in language. What have you been saying to yourself daily? What phrases have you allowed to live rent-free in your mind? These are your first causes, and your current reality is their effect. But do not despair, for every word spoken up until now can be overwritten. Just as a poor manuscript can be revised, so too can your life script be rewritten. And it begins today with new language, with the declarations rooted not in your past, but in your potential. You must take back the pen and become the author of your reality again. No more echoing limitation. No more rehearsing defeat. Speak the new man into existence. Speak as if the old you is gone, and he will be. Now, let us end with a command, not a conclusion. Let the man reading this stand tall. Let him raise his voice, not in noise, but in name. Let him say, I am a man of power. My words build nations. My voice commands success. I do not speak to impress, I speak to create. I do not echo doubt, I broadcast vision. My words are deliberate, disciplined, and divine. And with them, I shape a world that mirrors the greatness I have already chosen. Speak these things. Live these things. And watch as your reality begins to obey.